Hey everyone, it's time for another episode of the Jank Tank. This week I have for you a green-white deck that is taking advantage of a lot of the survivability in these colors. Since they added Selfless Savior and M21, we have a lot of options to protect good creatures. So what we're doing today is basically playing a few key creatures and then slapping some enchantments on them that are going to help them close out the game. So we'll look at those enchantments first. First up, we've got Hydra's Growth. When this comes in, it puts a counter on a creature, and then you double the number of counters on that creature. So over time, it becomes literally unstoppable. The downside to Hydra's Growth is usually it's just a 2-for-1. You play it on your creature, they play a kill spell, and you're out of both cards. And you didn't really get to do what you wanted to do. It doesn't have very much immediate impact, but it's very tall for late game. So bit of a problem to work with normally, so that's why you don't see it on a lot of decks. And then the other is Light of Promise. Very similar. You put it on a creature, and then whenever you gain life, you put counters on that creature. So this is going to work very well with anything that has a lifelink or other sources of life gain. It can get very tall very quickly. So what we're doing is we're trying to put either of these on our Healer's Hawk. Obviously, the Light of Deliverance, you're going to gain a life, put a counter on, then gain 2 life when it attacks, and put 2 counters on, then 4, etc. I've gotten Healer's Hawks up to 56 when I was doing my initial testing, I think. So yeah, it's a big bird, and you're gaining that life every turn, so as long as it's alive, you're basically winning the race. We've got Selfless Savior. So while the Selfless Savior is in play, you can sacrifice it to give another creature indestructible until end of turn. As long as we've got Selfless Savior, they can't kill whatever we put one of our 2 key enchantments on. And same thing basically with Alseid of Life's Bounty. You sacrifice it, and a creature enchantment that you control gains protection from a color. So with either of these 2 cards, we can basically keep our Healer's Hawk safe. And as long as our Healer's Hawk is safe, we're gaining life and killing our opponent. Because we've got one of these enchantments on it. We also have an Ajani's Pridemate. This is a bit of a diversion. They will probably end up killing the Pridemate over the Healer's Hawk in a lot of cases. The Pridemate's not that great in our deck. We have some sources of life gain, but not that many. Not that reliable or repeatable. We're not running the Orator that gives you life every time a creature enters play. So the Pridemate's a bit of a diversion, but it's also a kind of a scary creature on its own. So kind of like we did in the Orzhov Bolas' Citadel deck, it is here as a distraction or backup plan. We really want to put the stuff on Healer's Hawk. Heroic Intervention is another new green card that's going to keep all of our stuff safe. This gives either hexproof, well, I guess it gives both. It gives hexproof and is indestructible depending on what you need. We have gaps in our indestructibility, so Alseid can't save a creature from Bolas' Citadel, or not Bolas' Citadel, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, or colorless removal. Selfless Savior can't save it from exile effects. Alseid can't save from wrath effects. Heroic Intervention can do any of these, basically, except for dealing with Ugin. Hopefully we kill them before Ugin comes down, but it's a problem for this deck. In any case, something like Oblivion Ring, Selfless Savior is not going to help us with. Heroic Intervention will always do it. Play Heroic Intervention, everything's alive. Paradise Druid is another option for us to put one of these 2 enchantments on, because outside of wrath effects, it can remain untapped and it has hexproof. So if we just stick a Hydra's Growth on the Paradise Druid and not attack with it, over 4 turns the Druid will grow until it's big enough, and then we can only swing with it once we have backup indestructibility for it. And then on the top end, I threw in some big good creatures because we can and they're fun. I originally wanted to just protect these big guys with it, but they weren't working as well as I wanted to. These are slots that could probably be better served being something like Track Downs, but they're good creatures and they're fun to play. So we've got Baneslayer Angel. It's a 5/5 flyer, first strike and lifelink. Works really well with Light of Promise. Just good power toughness with evasion and stabilization. Once you play it, if they don't have a kill spell, it's hard for them to kill you. And Elgar Gargaroth. Very similar in that it can gain life and stabilize. It's got trample, so that's nice. Makes beast, gains life, draws cards when it attacks or blocks. So you can stick like Light of Protection on, or Light of Promise on it, and swing with a 9/9 because you gain 3 life, that sort of thing. Problem with both of them is that they both need to survive to combat in order to do anything for you, and they kind of just get killed. Which is okay, because we've got stuff here to protect them. Like, if we have a Selfless Savior, they're not going to be able to kill Spell or Gargaroth. So, it's kind of similar vein of the Hydra's Growth and Light of the Promise. It's just less janky, because these are really janky enchantments. Over on the land side, I've got Blossoming Sands to combo with the Light of Promise and a Johnny's Pridemate. And Temple of Plenties, you probably want to run the Shocklands. I just don't have the Temple Shocklands. As soon as the set rotates, the Zendikar Rising comes in. I'm just getting a set of a Zendikar Rising dual lands, because this whole nonsense of like, oh, I don't have these duals is getting tiresome. Not going to happen for another set. This is the right deck. All right, well let's play some matches and see if we can't do the thing. I've had some decent success with this deck, but I feel like it dies to duress effects. If they just play a turn 1 duress or a turn 2 agonizing remorse and take your enchantment away, then you're stuck just trying to kill them with a Healer's Hawk, which can get you pretty far, but not far enough. But yeah, I built this deck because I was like, there's a lot of survivability in green-white right now. Like, I should be able to just protect any threat I want, so what should I do with this? Let's see. Yeah, this looks good. So we'll lead with an Alseid and then a Pridemate. If they do a tap land turn 1, then we'll have a 3/3. There's an argument to be made for not going with the Pridemate yet. No, I'm just gonna go for it. We'll take that risk. So if I waited a turn, then the Alseid could be back up. See, I can't sacrifice the Alseid now because I'm tapped out. So if he has a 2-mana kill spell that kills the Pridemate, then we're out of luck. There are a few that I could think of. Mire's Grasp, Eliminate. Alright, Sanctum. So we're just going to be losing life. That's A-okay. Curious if I want Paradise Druid or Blossoming Sands. I'm just going to go with the Druid right now. Alright, the ball's in his court. There's a fetch land. I wonder how many colors he's running for shrines. At least 3. No play, huh? This could be unfortunately slow. Alright, I don't have an extra land, so I'm not going to play this Light of Promise. Even though I want to. Yeah, sure. Just put the speed on. Actually, it probably would have been better to leave the Paradise Druid untapped, play Light of Promise on the Paradise Druid, and start growing the Paradise Druid as well. Okay. Good game. One was just too slow. I guess he wasn't playing a lot of removal. When you're playing a full Shrines deck, there are not a lot of card slots available. You kind of have to hope that the Shrines do their stuff. And they can, because Red Shrine and White Shrine together play a pretty control-y deck. You just need a board wipe here and there to slow your opponent's roll. When I built it, it was basically 4 of every Shrine and then Shatter the Sky. And I think Storm's Wrath. It's a little tricky because all the board wipes are basically double-colored mana. I don't like all these tap lands in this deck. That's fine though. We can keep this. It's got pretty much all the things that we want in it. I don't want another Hydra's Growth. I want something that can either a Healer's Hawk or another Selfless Savior. Let's see. So we go Temple. I don't need another land, so we'll go Selfless Savior. And red probably shocks the Selfless Savior. You gotta shock it at some point because you have to spend removal on it. Alright. So I'm going to do it like this because I want to put Light of Promise on the Pridemate first. Five. I'm not familiar with this card. Okay. Unfortunately not big enough to deal with a 5/5. And we don't have removal to punish his discard a card strategy. So it depends on how much removal our opponent has. Hydra's Growth is obviously going to make this Pridemate a monster very quickly. Oh, that sucks. Well, that's pretty good. Oh, sorry guys, spaced out. I should have just sacked it to, yeah, I could have been in a much better position right now. So I've got a Pridemate that's probably just gonna get killed. I'm assuming. Interesting. I wouldn't have expected him to give up his Reaper like that. I don't think that's good for me. Some luck, maybe a Baneslayer Angel might stabilize. Okay, he's just gonna... Oh, it gets haste. What on earth? I've never seen this. Gains haste. Okay. Oh. That's extremely strong. Man, why am I playing this deck? I should just go brew something where I can just put something into play with haste. There's a lot of things that would put into play with haste. You're doing a lot of work just to resurrect that, not Valakut, dragon. The dragon that deals a bunch of damage when it attacks. I could have just been playing 5 mana to put into play with haste. I was like, oh, I gotta get a Perforos into play. We'll see how far this can go. Maybe this Temple of Plenty will get me a Healer's Hawk. You got only top end. Oh, it's a Healer's Hawk. Go ahead and play our life gain land. So with no survival like this, doesn't have reach, right? No. Okay. I was gonna say, with no survival like this, I basically just play the Hydra's Growth on the Hawk, force them to kill it, and then try and stabilize with Gargaroth and Baneslayer Angel when they've spent their removal on a Healer's Hawk instead. If this is Casualties of War, we're gonna get wrecked. Oh, a lot of Shrine decks. Okay. Could still Casualties of War. Alright, so... they're gonna pitch something to kill my Healer's Hawk, I assume. Nope, they don't. I'm guessing they inferred that I have a combat trick here, because otherwise there's no point in attacking with the Pride Mate. So like, well, if he has a combat trick, they can't. Okay. There's no point in trying to kill the Healer's Hawk either. Well, I didn't intend for that to be a bluff. I just wanted to eat their land with Heroic Intervention, but yeah, whatever works. Now they got 2 damage that they can throw at me. Which they're probably still worried isn't going to be sufficient, because a combat trick is typically more than +1/+1. Usually I only play them if they're like 2/2 or more. I like a good Giant Growth, +3/+3. But this is not going to work out for them. Yeah, they're getting cards every turn, but we're going to have Hydra's Growth on the Healer's Hawk and Heroic Intervention to keep it alive. Yeah, it's a lot of damage. And then once they eat through that, I've got Main Story Angel up. So let's go ahead and put the Hydra's Growth on the Healer's Hawk. Alright, no Heroic Intervention yet. Maybe they're digging for a Shadow the Sky. They would be very sad if that were the case. Yeah, Sanctum's so good. It's a lot of mana though. Put him behind Fatal Turn, basically trying to get that out, but Dryad's a good idea for this Shrine deck though. I hadn't considered that. I haven't played with this Dryad very much. Alright, Sanctum of Fruitful Harvest. Well, let's see if he has another land or shrine. Maybe he does. He'll have to pitch it. We got the thing. Not lethal yet. It's another Hydra's Growth. It's hilarious. We'll go to combat. Yeah, maybe, I was like, maybe I should have just played the Hydra's Growth, but he's got, yeah, there's no reason to have Hydra's Growth. He would have blocked had I done that. It wouldn't have been lethal, so. Alright, so now he gets 3 cards. And if they are lands or shrines, then he can kill my stuff. So Healer's Hawk doesn't live, but the Gargaroth probably will help. I mean, I guess he could. He's getting to the point where he can play the Sanctum. The white Sanctum, and then I won't be able to do a whole lot. So we may have lost this. Opponent sure is thinking about it. I think it basically comes down to whether or not he has the white Sanctum. He added white, so I feel like he would. He might just be trolling us by waiting until last second. Oh, okay. He gains a bunch of life. Alrighty. And he plays his land. Alright, so we have a Baneslayer Angel. I don't think there's a reason to Hydra Growth anything. I think I'd rather make a beast. Yeah. And we'll play another threat. Alright, so he gets another chance to find the Sanctum, or play a Heliod Intervention again. Sanctum of Stone Fangs, alright. Calyx, interesting.
Beyond Theros to explore.
So you can get rid of the Baneslayer Angel. Still needs to do something else. He's got one more card. He's gonna kill... Oh. Okay. We win? I think we win. Alright, we did it. Probably shouldn't have won this game. Had our opponent found the White Shrine at any point, he would have been able to tap all of our creatures forever. We'll do one more game. Yeah, sure. We've got the Healer's Hawk, we've got the Hydra Growth, we've got the Heroic Intervention. We need a Selfless Savior still. So the problem with the way this deck is going to turn out is the turn that I want to play Hydra's Growth on turn 3, I can't keep up Heroic Intervention mana. So I have to wait until turn 5 to start Hydra's Growthing if I want to protect it, which is not really viable. Our opponent is going to out-Pride Mate us this time. Go Paradise Druid. Attack with our Healer's Hawk. If we get a Hydra's Growth to stick, then we'll still be okay. Interesting. Just gonna get some soldiers? I don't know. Put a counter on the Healer's Hawk? Yeah, that seems good. No blocks. So, the way this game's going, we don't really have a choice. We've got to put the Hydra's Growth on the Healer's Hawk right now. Yeah, I think this is how I want to do this. No, I don't want a Pride Mate. I don't want a Pride Mate because we're either going to win because Healer's Hawk is alive, or Pride Mate's going to be useless because Healer's Hawk is dead. I could have killed his Bazarket. That was dumb of me. I should have played the land and swung with both of these. That may end up being a fatal error. However, next turn, he's either going to kill my Healer's Hawk or not have removal, and I can Baneslayer Angel.
I trust in your abilities.
Ow. Seems good. Okay, Selfless Savior. Alright, I'm just going to try and block. I might be able to kill his Pride Mate if he doesn't gain life. He might put a counter on the Pride Mate, maybe. Okay. That's fine. It was worth a shot.
Now is the time to strike.
What we're going to do is play a Heroic Intervention. And just block. This stuff gets really big, but we still got a Healer's Hawk and a Selfless Savior. Just gonna gain some life here, because we're gonna win by a Healer's Hawk being impossibly big.
My sand will protect you.
Okay, Healer's Hawk is annoying, but not impossible to deal with. We're gonna chump the Pride Mate here, I think. Oh. I wonder if he's got some sort of trick. Okay. Yeah, this lifelink's pretty nice. I think we got there. Although, now that I said that, I think maybe I should have gone for the Alseid instead to give protection from O-ring effects. Banishing Light could still kill the Healer's Hawk, so Alseid would have been better protection. He went for the attack there with the Pride Mate, which is an interesting decision. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Alseid and... Yep, I think just basically win. Raise the alarm. Okay. So he gets to kill the Selfless Savior. Oh, it doesn't kill the Selfless Savior for some reason. Okay. Well, we got a lot of life. I think we did it, guys. Hooray for Healer's Hawk with Hydra Growth. This stuff grew pretty quick, but it doesn't really stack up to Healer's Hawk. Destroy tapped creature. I am indestructible. Can't stop the Healer Hawk. Alright, that was fun. I feel like... I might go back to playing on the ladder. I feel like we don't run into enough counter spells in the play arena. I'll give it a few weeks and see if we want to switch back to the regular constructed ladder. Back to the deck, I don't really have anything that I had in preparation for this. Like, Track Down's the only card I've really considered tossing in rather than some of the other stuff. These guys did their job pretty well. I think the deck needs a little bit of oomph if you can't stick these guys and keep the Healer's Hawk safe. So I liked having them in. They were fun to play with too. Like, they won some of the games by being big and stabilizing. If that Baneslayer Angel were another, like, I don't know, if the Baneslayer Angel were like an Alseid instead, that last game, the Healer's Hawk might not have been enough to keep me alive. Being a 5/5 blocker with lifelink was very, very useful. Yeah, try and find room for track down maybe is probably the only thing I would really think for this deck. It basically does what it wants to do. You could do Face Fetters. Face Fetters would be a reasonable addition to this deck. That's a good chunk of life gain for Light of Promise, and gives the deck some removal that it doesn't have otherwise. So, I don't know what you cut, though. I'd probably go, like, something like this and add 4 Face Fetters. Yeah, it seems okay. Helps you get in for damage as well. If you've got like a big Pride Mate that doesn't have anything going on, you've like stuck a Hydra's Growth on the Pride Mate and you're just trying to get in some damage to them. Face Fetters it. Or a Light of Promise, that's hilarious. Gains 5 counters on a Johnny's Pride Mate. Nice. Well, that's the deck. We'll be back with some more drafts next week. Gonna try and break them into 3 parts again, unless something goes terribly and I just lose in the first episode. I don't know what I'll brew for next week. We've got a lot of Zendikar Rising spoilers coming in, so my thoughts are what I want to do with that set rather than what we've got going on here. So I'll have to think about what I'm doing. I've liked those rogue decks, the ones that play the Thief's Guild Enforcers that mill when they come in. But I don't want to steal that deck, so I might try some other variation on it. We'll see. But I'll be back next Friday.